Who is that one relative that no one in the family talks to and why? My uncle. He moved to Australia in the 1970s. He may or may not be alive. He may or may not be aware it's just him and my 96-year-old aunt left out of the original 7 siblings. No one has details for him. No big falling out. Just everyone seemed to vastly prefer him being in Australia. His only crimes I've managed to pin down are A, not letting my dad touch his Superman comics in 1960 whenever, and B, being a bit of an asshole. It was me. And it was because of my drinking. Coming up on 5 years sober, and it took 3 years of sobriety just to get invited to Christmas. So next Christmas will only be like the second I've gotten the invite to in 15 years or so. Took my sister aside last weekend to give her an apology for all that time. And sorry that I was never an uncle to her kids. They're all grown now, so can't change that. But I am sorry the bottle was more important than everything. And everyone during that time. I lost everything. A lot of what and who I lost I'll never be able to get back in my life. Because I'm the only deaf member in the entire family and the only deaf guy in the town as well, so there was almost no Isla beside mom, aunt and older brother. Even so we didn't really talk like a family, so I grew up with minimal sign language. No Isla for my B-Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, etc. I now see holidays as pointless and waste of time. My mom only FaceTimed me once in 13 years, and that was to find out where my cousin were in the store. I was with him at the time, but yet FaceTimed my cousin and older brother frequently. Go figures. If you've got a deaf family member, it helps a lot learning Isla and spending time with them. Don't leave them out. Edited. Holy shy, it's 600 now. 1K upvotes. That's insane. Did not expect this at all. Thank you all for the kind comments. Support and love, y'all rocks. I'm pretty sure my brother has killed people, among other serious, maybe more serious, crimes. Legally there's nothing I can do. What evidence I know the police and FBI also know. I have a restraining order against him and moved as far away as I can. One day he'll finally go down for a crime and there'll be a Netflix special on him and they'll ask why the family was complicit, as if we could stop any of this. Me. Because I escaped to the opposite coast 50 years ago. And the one that isn't dead is on my permanent no talk shit list. I'm so happy to have left this family behind. The only one I cared about was my mom. And I know she envied, not in a bad way, the fact that I chose freedom over conformity. I wish she had too. But she was trapped. If this resonates with anyone, remember that you don't have to love emotional abusers. Run away. Me. I used to try to help everyone when they needed it because I could afford to. 6 years ago my wife had a ruptured brain aneurysm and 2 strokes. I needed help taking care of her. I never got the first offer of any help, so on top of my 12-hour each day job I take care of her by myself. I think often of how I gave up so much for everyone else and got treated this way. They all have get-togethers and vacations and things we never get invited to because she really is a handful. We just spend time with each other and our grown kids when we can and make the best of it. I do really get upset though because I am so tired and really could use a break, but it is what it is. Thank you for listening. Me. My sister went public with the abuse that was done to us as kids and the family members who did it in 2022. At age 13 and again at 15. She did try and get police involved, but the mother of the cousin that was harming us was friends with many people in the department, and is married to one now. So my sister's story was never believed. We suffered very awful abuse for roughly 6 years. My mother was informed, an aunt, our grandmother, and police. Yet our mom still took us to that aunt's house so she could enjoy her time with her husband without her 2 daughters around. We never received justice. Today, our family has shunned not only her, but I as well. They still have all of the abusers in their close circle, and to this day no one from the family believes us despite injuries being shown over the years. My sister is now 5 months clean from her drug addiction as a result of our upbringing. I turned out alright, I guess, currently in therapy and working through everything. But yeah, fuck my family. My father-in-law. Boy, where do I start? ETA. Sorry. I obviously had to vent. This got way longer than I intended. TLDR. My abusive, drunk, multi-time scammed, but won't believe it for a second, narcissistic, holiday-ruining father-in-law. He has been a narcissist his entire life. He was abusive and hard on my mill and the 3 girls. I am married to the youngest of the 3. They divorced back when my wife was 6, 1987, and my mill said it was the best thing she ever did, even though she didn't have a penny to her name and had to take care of 3 kids. He left and went to Montana and was a truck driver and never sent any money home. After many years, all three of the girls have somewhat repaired the relationship with him, but let me tell you, the work has all been by the three of them, and none by him. He is now just a drunk idiot who acts like a 15-year-old kid with no sense of responsibility. He has been scammed multiple times, has lost over 400,000, does not believe any of us when we tell him he is being scammed, keeps claiming he is just trying to get his stock out of the market, and once the Bitcoin comes through, he'll be set. My wife has bailed him out, not financially, from losing his house by going to court with him and getting the judge to extend the foreclosure twice now, while also working with Rocket Mortgage to set up auto pay from a new account, where his pension goes, so at least the mortgage is being paid automatically now. This man makes $6,000 plus a month from pension and military disability, and only has a mortgage to pay, yet is constantly out of money. And he wants us to believe he isn't being scammed anymore. Except he sold a motorcycle on FB Marketplace to a fake check scammer and actually let the local friend of the buyer come and pick up the bike with a trailer because the check cleared his bank and the money was his now. But sure enough, it bounced and that $5,000 was taken back out of his account, and the freaking bike is gone. And on top of all that, he has promised so many things for his grandkids, our 2 and 5 more for my 2 sisters-in-law, and has just not delivered on anything. This last Christmas, we hosted everyone at our house, and after last year, we didn't want to invite him because he didn't bring any gifts for the kids yet, threw a damn fit that no one got him anything, including us. We don't exchange gifts between the adults, but especially the grandkids. He acted like a baby and left before dinner. So, fast forward to this Christmas, he is all, "Oh, don't you worry, I'll bring gifts for the kids." Yada, yada, yada. So, all 3 families reluctantly each got a gift for him. All 3 of them marked as like they came from the kids of each family. Disclosure: on purpose. We scheduled it so we already had the kids open their gifts and did that part without him before him arriving. He gets here, has absolutely nothing with him at all, and immediately asks where the beer is, grabs one, and after 2 big swigs asks where his presents are. The last straw was him calling my wife again this last month asking for her help in getting some Bitcoin transferred from a guy he knows, and my wife finding out in the call that he also is being taken to court again by Rocket Mortgage and he also wants her to attend again. Nope. She shut him down and said, "Once you figure out your shit and get out of all this mess we can talk. But until then we are no contact," and hung up. He had the audacity to text her and ask if she would still go to the court hearing with him, and she unloaded on him in her response, reminding him about something he also promised my son that he hasn't accomplished in over a year, telling him that my mill stepped in and took care of it for our son. His response was all about why she did that and trying to make him look bad. Nothing about my son and how he broke his promise. We are done. They kept stealing from me, using me for free food, transportation, labor, treating me like shit, and being patronizing as fuck. I cut them all out. My found family loves me very much and treats me with respect. They've never stolen from me or tried to use me to get stuff or do stuff for them. My daughter is growing up with loving, supportive people who nurture and protect her, instead of a bunch of grifters who would exploit her as a resource for money and labor while gaslighting her into believing she's incompetent and stupid. My mom's dad. I refuse to call him my grandpa. I don't know what exactly he did, but the entire family cut him out when my mom was 4. He later remarried and divorced. The woman he married to on the 2nd does still keep contact with us though, and is a great person, and then remarried for the 3rd time and divorced again. In the first marriage he had my mom, oldest, and her younger brother and sister. In the second one he had 1 single boy, and in the third he had twins, boy and girl. Also, the woman he married to after he divorced my grandma remarried herself and had 2 daughters. Her husband, which was very important to me, passed away a few years ago. We keep contact with all his kids and their mothers. We just cut him. Distant cousin. I heard many stories about what a troublemaker he was growing up, skipping school, joining gangs, being arrested/detained several times, having a wedding and the wife leaving almost immediately and dumping their baby on him. I feel really bad for the child. Having a very questionable high-paying job, and being an overall jerk. I saw him a few times when visiting family and at weddings, and he always looked like he was hiding something and had no manners whatsoever. I asked my direct cousins about him and they would just shake their heads and not want to say much. The whole family seemed really messed up. The father is a twin and the other brother's family who lives close by has a much more stable and well-mannered family. But this distant cousin family was a mess. I often hear the mother is really dumb and does a lot of questionable things too and is always lying about how great everything else and is in denial constantly when talking to my parents. Then my parents talks to other relatives and they get a completely different story. I feel like the mother plays a huge part in such an unstable family. This cousin also has a younger sister who almost never speaks and looks away from everyone like she's got some social/mental disorder that was neglected/ignored. I heard when she became an adult she just left and cut off contact. Honestly, I'm not surprised. And time to time I hear the mother saying positive lies about her family and other relatives denouncing all her BS. It sickens me that I'm somehow related to that cousin and his idiot mother.